This week on CBS's Money to Burn, Season 3, Episode 4, Forget Me Not. Well, I've already forgotten all about last week's episode, but I definitely won't forget about this one since it was beyond stupid. You see, after two preposterously un-Star Trek-ish seasons, this third season started decently, in comparison. The first episode was bland, but not overly stupid. The second episode was almost refreshing because the main problem of the show, Michael Burnham, aka Mikey Spock, was mostly absent. Like I said, I don't remember last week, but this one fell right back into the pattern of lazy writing, artificial drama, and pseudoscience. So the USS Discovery crash-landed in the 32nd century. The crew found that the Federation had been obliterated roughly 150 years ago and is now scattered all over the place. Because all of their dilithium blew up, in an event referred to as the money burn. The former members no longer have warp drives and they have lost contact with one another, which makes no sense since you don't need dilithium to send messages through subspace. It wasn't ever relevant for communication. So at least the former members of the Federation should still have radio contact. But then this whole season probably wouldn't have any story to tell. I'd like to pinpoint that Captain Saru is by far the best thing about this show. He's maybe the most wise and intelligent character, but he lacks authority. Mikey Spock has been tuned down and lightened up, but she's still the center of all attention, and she's still annoying and not relatable. In last week's episode, now I remember, Discovery reached Earth, but there was no Federation to talk to. In fact, Earth doesn't even know where the Federation HQ is, which is remarkable since Earth is one of the 4 founding members. Now, only one man knows where the HQ of the Federation is, a man called Zenithal, who turns out to be dead. But he was carrying a Thrill symbiont, and this Trill now has a new host called Adira. Unfortunately, Adira does not know how she became a host, and she also can't access the memories of all the former hosts. She only knows that Zenithal is one of them. And here's where this episode is taking off. Adira is examined at sickbay. She does carry a host, but there is no actual proof that anything she claims is true. The crew just met her like 5 minutes ago. The crew just believes, because reasons. Since the Discovery wants to contact the new HQ, and only Zenithal knew where it is, he said that in a broadcast, they play with the idea to approach the Trill homeworld and ask them for medical assistance in order to trigger Adira's memory. Little problem there has never been a human host before, so the crew does not know how the Trill will react to their request. But Adira decides, we go to the Trill homeworld. Not Saru, the captain, not even Mikey Spock, the new girl. This show really hates hierarchy, doesn't it? The Discovery arrives at the Trill homeworld and Mikey Spock and Adira fly to the planet's surface with a shuttle. They don't use transporters. Maybe they wanted to show off Microsoft's HQ, where the episode mostly is shot. The welcoming committee of the Trill reacts hostile when they realized that Adira is human. Problem is, they all look like humans with freckles. They don't care how that symbiont got into Adira. They don't talk like they cared much about the symbiont at all. They're just appalled by a human being, a host. It's basically your average artificial STD drama. So Mikey and Adira are being sent away to their shuttle. But on their way, Mikey realizes that they're not heading for the shuttle. They are being ambushed by the Trill who want their symbiont back, although they said like 1 minute ago that they don't have a new host available, and symbionts die without hosts. Of course, Mikey Spock takes all the attackers out with ease. But they don't make a run for the shuttle. Now, all of a sudden, they want to enter the holy Trill cave where the magic happens. No reason for Mikey's change of heart is given. A friendly Trill leads them to the cage, and upon arrival he says, "Quick, hurry, they're gonna be here like any minute." Like he knew for how long the stunning effect of Mickey's phaser lasts. Adira enters a Minority Reportish pond and gets a seizure. which means she's communicating with the symbiont. The rest of the Trill arrive and they want to get her out of the pond. That's when Adira disappears in the pond. Mikey Spock follows her into the depths of the pond. Meanwhile, on Discovery, Saru is hosting a friendly dinner for the crew of the bridge. I will give this episode credit for dealing with the consequences of them being stranded 1,000 years to the future with all their families and friends outside the ship long gone. The whole crew is under tremendous psychological stress because of that. But what does Saru do? He gives everyone else the night off. I wonder what they're supposed to do with their free time. In a situation like this, work is probably the only thing that keeps you from going crazy, but we'll get into that later. This dinner would have been an excellent opportunity to introduce the members of the bridge. For over 2 seasons, we've only known the name of the pilot, Kayla Detmer. And this time, again, she's the only one addressed by name. No. All we got was a catfight between Detmer and Mushroom Boy. Stamets. And of course, it wasn't Saru who called for order. It had to be Tilly, because hierarchy bad. Hierarchy bad. So bad hierarchy. Meanwhile, on the bottom of the pond, where there's no water and they can breathe, Adira is being penetrated by alien tentacles so she can merge with the memories of her symbiont. We learn how she became a host. She remembers the former host. It was her boyfriend. They were aboard a generation ship that had, well, explosions. Her boyfriend got injured, and before he died, they transferred the symbiont into Adira. So imagine this, they went through all that trouble to access the memory of the second last host called Senetal because he knew where the new Federation HQ is. And the only thing that Adira remembered was his name. Nothing about any of the other hosts, before or after. It is implied that her memory was suppressed because of the drama of losing her boyfriend, which was the last host. So why couldn't she remember her boyfriend's name, or any of the other names of the host that preceded Senetal? It's just so convenient that his name is the only thing that she has any recollection of. Like I said, lazy writing. Adira has now overcome her trauma and remembers all of the hosts and all of their memories. Those hosts now appear in what looks to be a vision, but although Mikey Spock is not connected to the tentacles, she can see them too. And she also knows, because reasons, that Adira now knows the location of Federation HQ. I mean, that ought to be a lot of memories to take in all at once. How could she filter out that particular memory so fast? Once Mikey and Adira exit the pond, the formerly hostile Trills just chill when Adira tells them that she remembers and she names all of the former hosts. The Trill too were not connected to the tentacles, so why would they believe anything Adira tells them? Just 2 short commercial breaks ago, she was not welcome and then an enemy of the state. But there's no time, the girls have to get back to the ship, where all the former drama is suddenly resolved. People apologize to each other like it's the soapiest soap opera ever crafted. Yell, then reconcile. Why even bother addressing the actual problems that led to conflict in between in the first place? How I miss those TNG days, where characters never argued about petty little things and only took issue when there was an actual problem to solve, a collision of values or ideologies. The episode concludes with the crew watching a Buster Keaton flick in the shuttle bay hangar. They're all laughing hysterically like it's the funniest thing they've ever seen, footage that is almost 1,500 years old at that point. You'd think that the Discovery's memory would contain a Brazilian movies and TV shows. Maybe CBS has no money to shoot new footage or use some of their own archive material. Wait a minute, no money? Season 4 of STD is, supposedly, already in production. They already teased the arrival of Discovery at the new HQ of the Federation in the next episode. And wouldn't you have guessed it? They're all pricks. Either who, live long and prosper. And watch real Trek, not this garbage.